All right, what's up, everyone? So, today, as y'all can see, we have a special video. We have a special guest. Actually, she's one of my favorite vegan content creators out there. She's made lots of content that's gone viral across social media, reaching millions and millions of people. She's interviewed Seb Alex, Ryuji Chua, Amy Ayla. And so, without further ado, I'm really excited to present to y'all Farah.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here and for us to create some content together for the first time.
Absolutely, me too. So first of all, to start off, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? I just did a brief introduction, but let's hear what you have to say
Sure.
about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a very, very passionate animal advocate, and I come from a video and film background. So I decided in 2022 to kind of combine those two things. I became really passionate about veganism then at the time. So I decided, I love video making. So let's combine my passion for video making and my passion for veganism. And then I decided just to be a vegan content creator. And I started like that. And yeah, I'm still so passionate about it. And it's what I literally want to do every single day is just use the skills that I have, which is in content creation, which is in video editing, and speak up for the animals like
Absolutely, I feel that. I feel like everybody's got their unique set of skills that they can use now to do whatever they want. But in
Yes.
our case, talk about it or speak up
Yeah.
for the animals. You know.
It's fun. It's like I finally found my purpose because I was doing video editing for a while, but like now I really feel like I found like the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and yeah, and it's really like I will never stop doing this until we have a vegan world where everyone treats animals in the way that they deserve to be treated.
Absolutely. So on that note, can you tell us about your vegan journey? Like, how'd you get started in the first
Yes.
place?
I honestly never thought I'd be vegan. Like, I didn't understand what it meant to be vegan. My brother, he was vegan. I have an older brother, and he turned vegan for like a year before I eventually turned vegan. So I think he kind of inspired me. And I turned vegan in 2020, in August 2020. So it's kind of mid-COVID. I was living together in quarantine with my family, and because my brother was vegan by that time for a year, he turned vegan by watching the film Okja. I really recommend people to watch it if they haven't yet. It's a film by the Korean director of Parasite, and it's a really, really good, entertaining film and has like a subtle vegan message. So he turned vegan watching Okja, and but he was a quiet vegan. Like he didn't really speak up about the animals. I think I just remember once that we had eggs in the house, and he would say like, "Oh, like baby chicks die because you eat eggs," and I was just kind of like, "That's not true. Like that doesn't happen." Like I was the cognitive dissonance was real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then I think he did kind of inspire. He inspired the plant-based movement for sure because so we were all living together in quarantine, and because he was vegan, we were all cooking plant-based dinners together, like family dinners. And by that time, actually, 2020, 1st of Jan was as a New Year's resolution, I turned vegetarian. So I was vegetarian for like that period, and then kind of accidentally plant-based as well. I wasn't eating really any animal products. And there was one moment when I had ordered outside food, and it was like really heavy with dairy, and it made me like so nauseous because my body had already like gotten like adjusted to being without dairy. So I felt really, really super nauseous, and I was like, I don't ever want to eat something that makes me feel that way ever again.
Yeah.
So I turned like plant based fully. I like consciously made the decision to turn plant based, and it's only after that. So I turned plant based, and then I started following vegan pages online. Um, and that's when I really got exposed to what happens to animals in the industries. Before that, I never knew at all what happens to animals, and I became exposed to it, and I made the conscious decision to turn vegan really for the animals, and because I was like, there's no way that like the way that they're being treated now, like I just can never go back to eating animal products, after learning
Yeah.
that. And that's also why I became really passionate about doing what I do because I was like, no one's ever shown me this footage before. Like, no one's shown me what happens to dairy cows in the industry. So I was like, I want to
Exactly.
be that person for other people. So that's how I decided. So I was vegan for like a year before I decided to be like an activist. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
almost 4 years vegan.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, no, a lot of what you said resonates with me too. The idea of so much stuff happens and you're like, how has nobody told me this before? Like, what? Like, especially the
I
dairy and egg
know,
stuff. That stuff is
I know.
That stuff is crazy. And I mean, today, you ask anyone on the street, they're not going to know that.
I know. Which is why we're doing what we do, right? Because we want to bring the message out there that like of all the male chicks who die, which even though my brother did try to tell me that, somehow it didn't
Yeah,
land. Somehow I didn't believe that was true. So I do always criticize him, like, why were you the quiet vegan? Why did you not like show me the footage? But maybe it's not his fault. Maybe I was just not ready,
you weren't
until I
receptive.
caught up.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe and it's so funny, which is why I guess we should also offer that same to other people, so that
yeah.
when they're ready, they can receive the information. But yeah.
It It's funny you mention that because I was watching another one of your interviews with Ryuji, and he was talking
Hmm.
about a book that he read, his vegan journey, and how he read this book called *Sapiens*. And I'm like, damn, I read that book too. Like, and he was like, yeah, like it made me go vegan. And I'm like, I don't remember that part at all. And I'm like, but maybe it's like you're saying, like
Yeah.
maybe at a certain point, if you're not
Hmm.
completely there, your mind is just kind of like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
ignore that. Just gonna put that away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. Someone else said the same thing about Sapiens, that they didn't see the vegan part in Sapiens. That's funny. You're not the
Yeah,
only one. But yeah, Ryuji did get inspired with that book. That's funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned a little bit that that's when, like, it was about, did you say a year after you went vegan, you started doing activism?
I don't know if it's a year. I should know this actually. But I turned vegan in August 2020, and I started my activism only early 2022. So it's like a year and a half, I'd say. Yeah.
And so what did your activism, like, how did you start with your activism?
I
Like,
just
was it
that
posting on social
was
media,
yeah,
being
yeah,
annoying with
yeah,
your
yeah.
friends?
That's a good question because I've
So,
realized that I've not actually like I was just vegan. That was just me. Like I just chose a vegan diet, and that was me for a year and a half. And I realized that I never actually did tell anyone to go vegan in my friend group until I became like an activist, and I started literally telling everyone, like trying to
yeah,
get them off animal products in my daily life as well as online. But yeah, I just started being like posting vegan content, and it kind of changed over time. So I started just by posting like vegan restaurants. I go to visit a restaurant, make a reel for that, and then it grew into animal activism after that. Yeah.
gotcha. And so would you say that your main channel right now is Instagram for creating content? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So it's funny. I remember the first reel that I saw of yours. That's how I actually, the first time I got exposed to your content, I was just on Instagram, and I saw that reel that you posted that says something like, when someone says you're confusing animals for people, and in the
Oh,
background, and the
yeah.
background's like a factory farm, and then the
Yeah.
next quote comes up and says, no, you're confusing animals for objects. And I was like,
Yes.
damn, that's a good one. Obviously, instant share. And then my
Yeah.
friend who's not vegan, she shared that. I was like, what? Like,
Whoa.
that was crazy.
Amazing.
Um,
That's so cool that you
so
mentioned that reel because that's the reel that actually I grew a lot with. And I was trying to figure out as well, like, what was it about that reel exactly that made it so that a lot of people shared it? But I think I kind of collect industry footage from YouTube, and I think that's not made it yet to Instagram. So then I collected it from like this random documentary of like 30 minutes about animal agriculture, and there was
yeah,
one scene with
okay,
all the cows rotating like that. So I
yep,
took that
yeah,
from
yeah,
that
yeah,
scene, which people hadn't seen before. And then the quote is really powerful. And then suddenly, and it's only like a 10 to 15-second reel. So suddenly the algorithm just,
yeah.
picked it up, and it got me a lot of followers from that. Yeah.
And it's such a good reel. I mean, it got me. That's how I found you.
I know.
And
Amazing.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's just such a. It was such a good. Is that your quote? Did you come up with that, or is that like a quote that was out there?
I take my quotes from Pinterest. I literally go on Pinterest and I find like the most
Oh,
powerful
okay.
vegan quotes, and then I
Well,
match
it's
the
a good
quotes from
one.
Pinterest with like factory farm footage.
It's a really good one. It's a really, really good one.
Thank you.
So yeah, so like on that reel, you've gotten multiple millions of views, and on a lot of Instagram reels that you've put out, you've got multiple millions of views. How did you get to
Yeah,
that point?
I know. So it's honestly it's kind of figuring out Instagram. So like when we do animal activism, we just kind of posting whatever on the social media. But if you want to be effective and reach a lot of people, you have to play the game of Instagram. Like, what works on Instagram? What is Instagram like? How does the algorithm work? So it's kind of like trial and error with that. And now I've kind of realized what does work and what gets engagement. And if I were to advise people, I would say definitely the shorter the better. Like sometimes obviously we have a longer message of like an interview, which might be, but like keep it even below a minute if you can.
Yeah.
Like the reel that you saw was like maybe 10 seconds. So like
Yeah.
Instagram really favors that. And have a story that you're telling. Like you said, the quote came first and then the other part came after. So like have a stories that people are waiting to hear the answer. I
Yeah.
recently posted one with the comparing me sitting in an airplane seat to the pigs in the gestation crates,
Yep.
and like even that has a story, right? Because it starts with I was in an airplane seat, but all I could think about was them. So kind of having something that they're sticking around to find out. Because I do social media management for other like organizations as well, and I was just looking at there's an organization called Vegan Friendly. They recently grew a lot on Instagram, and one of their reels hit I think like 20 million views, I think with 2 million likes. And it was they basically I looked at the original video that they took it from, and then the actual video that they made. It's basically it's cows that are not farmer, sorry, the sanctuary owner of the cows. He places a brush on like a tree. Maybe you've even seen it, and all the cows come and they want to brush like put their head against the brush, and it's really cute because it's like they're all so curious about this brush, and they're loving this brush. And the original sanctuary owner is like in Germany, and he had a really long minute of them doing that, and Vegan Friendly like cut it down to be like, this kind man got the cows and it was like a brush, and then it was like I think it's max 30 seconds that reel, and it hit like it
Okay.
got 2 million likes, and it got Vegan
That's a
Friendly. It's
lot.
100K where they are now. So it's kind of like trying to do that, like trying to mess around with the what is the algorithm like, and then just create our content to that, and then because eventually we want with our content to reach our audience, our preferred, like if our content gets trolls, like meets trolls, that's when we reach our target audience. That's when we're not just
That's
talking to
great.
vegans. That's when we're actually, you know what I mean? Like that's what we want. So it's kind of like, okay, how do we get to that side of to the meat algorithm?
I feel that completely actually. And sometimes when I post a reel, I'm like waiting for the first troll comment because those are good. Because then
I
someone
know.
replies and is like, "What are you talking about?" And then the next thing I know, I'm getting notifications like there's this war going on in the comments, and then the
Debates.
reel just keeps popping up, and I'm like, "Okay."
I know. I know.
Uh,
Even nowadays, I think the meat trolls they posting like gifs, and I'm just like, you know what? Instagram loves comments. It favors comments actually over likes. So the more they comment, fine. The reel's gonna be boosted more. So I was like, go ahead, comment, make gifs. It's fine.
yeah, completely. No, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's just funny how many people the reel will reach because people are trolling about it. And sometimes I even try to make I try to make content that I feel like this might be a little bit controversial. Like people are going to be like, "Oh, like how could you say that?" Not crazy, but
Yeah. Hmm.
anything that you're trying to like bait the comments sometimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I will say
so
that one time it was less effective. So like the reel that you saw with the cows, that hit a really good audience that was like saying that it's cruel for the cows, but they were like like
right,
they were shocked to hear that to see that this happens to them, etc. But I did one that also blew up about chickens, and it did not do like it hit like the KFC commenters that like there was the vegans were not winning in that comment section. Like it was the meat eaters that won in that comment section, and
yeah,
that was a bit like depressing. That's when I realized like, is it even effective now? Because at this point they're just mocking the chickens. So like, so I was a bit sad about that reel getting so much hate from like. I realized that people really don't care about chickens. I don't know what it is, but it's so ingrained in our society that chicken is
yeah.
food, not an animal that deserves compassion. So I really realized after that reel like blew up with all these comments about yummy KFC that I was like, wow, people have no compassion for chickens like at all.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that
Well,
was really sad.
that's actually a really good point. Like the distinction between animals. people give more grace to, or I don't know if grace is the right word, but
Like
people care more
mammals.
about
Yeah.
cows. Yeah, because they're like, you do see a lot of
Yeah.
reels blowing up that cows are just big dogs.
Yeah.
Versus chicken, people seem to not relate with them
Yeah.
as much. I think I
True.
was guilty of that. I think I was guilty of that too. It wasn't until I went to an animal sanctuary in LA once, and that was like my first time interacting with chickens. And I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. Like they're so cute. Like their feathers. I was like, they're so puffy. And yeah, and I don't know why. I feel like I guess there's just a greater disconnect. And because they're
Yeah.
not, yeah, I guess you said like they're mammals, right?
So
Yeah.
no, so yeah, so cows and pigs are mammals, and then chickens
Yeah.
are birds. So I guess it
Yep.
goes mammals, birds, and then even fish. So I co-work a lot, and I have like vegan on my like laptop sticker. So I have like get like conversations with people who are like asking me about that. So I have like vegan debate with this guy, and he was like, "Oh,
On the
you're like."
spot.
Yeah, I mean, like it happens, right? Like they start asking about veganism, and then like I start asking him like about like what do you eat, and like why do you think that we eat the animals we eat? Why don't we eat other animals? But
Okay, you
yeah,
go
so
full
then
activist. Nice.
yeah, sometimes.
No, it's good. It's
But
good.
then
Good.
the note, he asked me, he's like, so and fish, and I was like, well, yeah, fish is also an animal. Like he didn't think
Yeah.
fish was an animal, so that kind of proves the point of like the list was then
Totally.
birds and then fish. It's
Totally.
crazy.
Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to yeah. So we were talking off camera. I'm in Milan right now, and I was talking to my friend, and she was telling me. I mean, I feel like vegans hear this all the time, but it's like, oh, but you eat fish, right? Like pesce or whatever. No, that's not meat. That's fish. It's something
That's
else.
fish. Yeah, I
Yeah, and
know.
I was like, interesting.
Exactly.
Okay, can you tell us about your podcast, Change Makers?
Yeah. So when I started my Instagram reels and stuff, like I really wanted a podcast as well to kind of give a platform for just longer stories and my main thing is to interview people. So I don't really do the solo podcast much, like the episodes. Like it's not really a podcast where I'm just me talking, but it's really where I want to give the space to other change makers in the movement who are, trying to better the
Wow,
world. And
cool.
yeah, and I do want them all to be vegan. I thought maybe I should branch out to like climate change people, and but I like it if I do branch out to climate change as well, the
Yeah,
topics. But I like it if they're vegan and a climate change activist,
yeah,
like
of course.
in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, of
space.
course, of course.
So yeah, so I want to like share all the animal activists around the world who are trying, to do it and to show their work. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, and give them a platform as well. So for all
that's
the
really
global change
cool.
makers. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And do you mind if I ask why you changed the name from the previous
Yeah,
name? I thought the
sure.
previous name was really cool, but I don't know.
So my
Maybe you
previous
didn't like it
podcast
anymore.
name was I loved it, but the previous podcast name was All the Cool Kids Are Vegan. And actually my previous username on Instagram was also Farah Vegan. So I had Farah Vegan
Yes.
of All the Cool Kids Are Vegan. And I thought this was going to be like my name forever, but I had a conversation with a friend who kind of gave me a different perspective. Um, he used to work for Mercy for Animals, so he comes more from like a welfare perspective, maybe. But he does want a vegan future, and he was like, well, how do we get there? And we have to realize that unfortunately the vegan word kind of like pushes people away. Like the second that people hear
Yeah.
vegan, they're not really going to be receptive about anything else you say after they hear the word.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
if our target audience is non-vegans, then we
Yeah.
should move away from the word vegan. Which I was
Yes,
like
I
shocked
hear you.
about. Like I took like a good day to like kind of process the information because I was like, damn, like moving away from the word vegan, like I'm a vegan activist, like that's what I do, I need to spread the word. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how do we want to be effective at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, in order to be effective, we're gonna have to move away from like dividing. Like we can't say you are non-vegan, I'm a vegan, and this and that, and we have to kind of bring people in and welcome them. And unfortunately, the word vegan kind of like creates that divide somehow. Yeah.
Definitely. No, I feel that. I mean, you're looking at that X that vocal
That vote.
vegan, you know what I
I
mean?
know. I
I
was
mean,
gonna say, like, you probably
so
had that same, like, kind of transition or similar transition. So, yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I think we talked about this before, but or I know I or The point is I remember my first introduction to veganism or like plant-based eating. It was through the Game Changers, which didn't mention veganism at all until you're in the
Yeah.
documentary. You know what I mean? But when I started
Yeah.
watching it, I didn't know what it was going to be about. And who knows if I would have watched it had it contained the word vegan. I mean, maybe I would have watched it.
Hmm.
Who knows? But they're just like one-off studies that I've heard about from time to time. But hearing things like they had that basket and they asked people to choose like the vegan option. There was all the same option, but it was like the normal option or the vegan option, the healthy and sustainable option or something, or the plant-based
Hmm.
option, something like that. And vegan option did the worst, even though it's the exact same option, right? Like they compared how
Hmm.
often they chose like the regular one versus the healthy and sustainable one, whatever, or the alternative option.
Yeah.
And yeah, the healthy and sustainable one got way more got chosen way more often. So yeah, people maybe are just really
So
afraid
interesting.
of the term vegan, and so
Yeah. Yeah,
who
it's
knows?
similar. Like I'm reading a book called How to Create a Vegan World by the founder of ProVeg, and it's very much talks about that like we want people to turn vegan for the animals, but we have to recognize that even them turning vegan for health and stuff is still beneficial and will
It'll
eventually, increase that ladder. But
get your foot in
he
the door.
mentioned
Yeah,
this, yeah, but he mentions this about looking at the word gluten free. That if there was to be a bakery that was a gluten free bakery, it's not, people aren't gonna, it doesn't sound as like appealing as in the same way.
I'm not going to that.
Exactly, but that's what people have about veganism. The same thing, if they hear vegan cake, they're gonna think, oh, that's like a how we see gluten free, they see that to vegan. So then it's just human behavior and having to kind of see through that and then use that for advocacy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally see that. What have been some of the highlights of the interviews you've done? And sorry, and again, real quick, just so y'all know, like Farah's done again some big guys like Seb Alex, Ryuji Chua, Amy Ayla. If you got, Seb's huge on Instagram. Actually, they're all huge. They're all
Seb's
pretty big on
amazing.
Instagram. Yeah, those. I just want to say those are criminally underviewed on YouTube. I think I watched them. I thought they were good. I think it's really cool to see these people
Oh,
in
thank
that
you.
forum. And I don't think it's a forum that we see very often. Just like a vegan being able to talk about their opinions with another vegan, kind of like what we're doing now.
Mm.
No, but it's really cool the way that you do it. It honestly really is. So yeah, so like, what have been some of
Thank
the
you.
highlights of those interviews for you?
By the way, I love that you said they're underviewed. It's because most of my audience is
Criminally,
on, yeah. Because the thing is, most of my audience is on Instagram, so it's important. Like the podcast is exists for those who want to listen to it. But what's since I'm a video editor, like I really like to take like the snippets from those podcasts and
yeah,
put like really interesting B-roll and have use that for like the reels and stuff. Um, but yeah, it doesn't like so your question was the highlights. It was really amazing meeting all of them and hearing about their like advocacy, and they're so they know what they're talking about. They have so much knowledge to share, which is so nice to have people like that on our side, for animal advocacy, which is really
absolutely.
amazing. But if you want to see highlights, I really enjoyed my sanctuary interview with the sanctuary owner. So I went to,
Atul.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So I
you're like,
really
damn,
love,
he really did
yeah.
his homework. I saw
So
your face,
I
like you're like,
yeah.
damn, he's okay.
You said it good too.
Uh,
So I love his sanctuary. He has a sanctuary in Goa and India, and he rescues cows because a lot of people just don't know about the situation in India, which what happens to the cows there because a large part of the population in India is vegetarian, and which means that they consume dairy, lots of dairy. And so the dairy industry in India is huge. I mean, India is the leading exporter of beef and leather, and that's because of the dairy industry, because there's actually no, beef farms, but it's the
that's
biggest
crazy.
exporter of beef. So that's because of dairy. And cows are also viewed like they do. They're not. It's not legal to kill them in specific states in India. So because of this, so when a cow can no longer produce milk, the farmers just put them out on the street and they become stray cows instead of killing them because it's not legal,
You're
right?
joking.
Yeah, which is why there's so many stray cows in India. Like if you're on the street, like that's the reason there's cows on the street.
I didn't even know there were stray cows. That's crazy. I don't know. Like I didn't know that stuff. That's okay. That's really interesting.
Because I mean, people have this idea when they think of India. They know that there's lots of cows on the street, right? Because cows are like religious in their religion of Hinduism, like they're
Yeah.
sacred. So they think that's the reason, but the reason is actually they're because they're all stray cows, and
Yeah.
it's really sad because they end up eating the plastic because there's a lot of plastic waste on the floor, and that they eat that, and that gets in their stomach, and they get issues, and they die, and that's where a tool sanctuary comes in, and they rescue these cows. They get all the plastic out of their stomach, or they get hit by
Gotcha.
cars. So then a tool sanctuary takes in
Yeah.
like cows that have been hit by a car. So they're amazing, and I really loved. Like I traveled, like I was like a 3 day trip, or 2 or 3 day trip from Bombay, Mumbai to Goa, and I was like, I had a fever that day as well, but I was like, I don't care, I'm going to interview Atul,
Okay.
and all the cows cleared my fever. Like it was so nice to be like. I
Okay.
recommend anyone if they can visit a sanctuary, like a farm animal sanctuary, please do. Like you said, like you met the chicken and like connected with the
Yeah.
chicken. It's so nice to connect to these farm animals. I met like they have goats as well, and I realized that goats are so cool. I love goats. Like they're the coolest animal.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm still kind of scared.
Of
But
which
they kind
animal?
of scare
Cows?
me. Goats. No, goats. They're scary. I think I'm traumatized. When I was a kid, I just remember this. This is like a core memory unlocked. I remember that I was in this, I was in like a zoo probably with my mom, and we were at like a petting
Pre-vegan
zoo or
days at a
something.
zoo.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
I remember this. I just turned and I saw this goat like eating my mom's dress, and it just freaked me out. I was like, "Oh my!" This goat like attacked my mom, like ruined her dress. Like I don't know. Yeah. So for me, I still remember that. Like it's still in my mind, but I don't know. Yeah.
But the
So
goat meant well. They just wanted food.
yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, I'm just scared of them. That's it. That's all I'm saying. No hate. I'm just scared of them.
That's
That's
so
it.
funny. I recently met a girl, she's an animal activist, and she's scared of animals. And I was like, that is hilarious because she's beating, like, the breaking the misconception, like, the idea that you have to, if you're vegan, it means you love animals because she
I
literally is
love that
scared of
one.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, even for me, like I don't consider myself an animal lover at all. Like if you knew me in my pre-vegan days, people are probably confused that I'm vegan. They're like, Danesh, but you never talk about animals. And it's like, yeah, well, you don't need to love them
Interesting.
to, not kill them.
Yeah.
But even for me, like, so that's when I got invited to the sanctuary for the first time. I was like, I don't know, like it's not really like my thing. Like I don't, but I went and actually I agree with you. I think it is cool to go. It is just go once if you can and just see. It's just different. You might take something away from it. Like I never thought I would take away that chicken thing, and I think that's
I
going to stay with
know.
me for the rest of my life. And I think chickens are so cute now. Like I really think they're really really cute. So the next question I want to ask you, and so I actually stole this from Vegan Power Lab, who asked me this on a stream like a few weeks ago. By the way, subscribe to Vegan Power Lab. Let's get into 1K subs ASAP. Anyways, how do you feel like your content plays into someone's vegan journey? Who is your target audience? Do you have a certain intent when you're making your content?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that like, at the end of the day, the reason I create the content I do is to inspire, kind of plant a vegan seed in someone's mind, right? Which
Yep.
is all I'm trying to do at the end of the day. And whether that's through showing animals in the way that they're just like our like dogs and cats, or showing parts of factory farm that people, because obviously everything in a factory farm is hidden from us because of like ag laws, and that you're not allowed to like people aren't allowed to see what's happening. So I'd like to,
Yeah.
show people that. But you also, when you do that, you have to be careful, and you have to make sure you don't post anything too graphic, because no one's gonna, like, if you're gonna put scenes from Dominion that are really intense, like when the pigs in Dominion in the pig farm, they get like castrated without anesthesia or get their teeth pulled out and stuff like that. It's really intense stuff. And if you're just gonna throw that out there on Instagram, like, you might even get the, the
Yeah, the blur or
what's the
whatever. You
word,
might
the
get
blur,
censored.
exactly. This, you gotta get censored, and that doesn't help either because some people have to have another step to see the real.
Yeah, then nobody
So
sees it. Yeah.
yeah, right. So you have to kind of
Yeah.
have a good balance of showing people the reality, but also don't make it too graphic that they don't want to see it at all.
Yeah.
Even just recently, a reel of mine that's really hit the algorithm. I made it for Veganuary. which was just like, it's never too late to stop eating animals. And it showed really pretty images of animals. So it was nothing too graphic. It was literally just like a beautiful chicken and a beautiful cow, which the cow was in a farm, but it wasn't like it was just not a graphic image. And that one really hit the algorithm and got like 50,000 likes now, and like just people sharing it.
Damn.
Oh, by the way, that's something else that I wanted to say to people, that they have to make their content as shareable as possible. Like at the end of the day, you want your content to for people to share it on their story. If you're making
Yeah,
content and it's content that people aren't going to want to share on their story, you've not like created a content that the
that's a
algorithm is
good
going to
point.
pick up. Yeah,
That's a
because
good point. Yeah.
the more shareable your content, like the more it's going to be, more engagement you'll get. It's going to be viewed by people, by the followers of them. So that's what I always advise people as well, to make it as shareable as possible. But yeah, I hope that in like their vegan journey, I hope that I can somehow plant a seed.
And so the reason that I ask that question sometimes, it's like I, like the people that I really have in mind when I'm trying to make content is I really have in mind people who are like really close to becoming vegan, or they're pretty open minded about a lot of other things. Like they care about the climate, they care about their health,
Yeah,
they care about other social issues. They care about racism and stuff. How can I just help them,
yeah,
push them along the way and make that final connection? And so maybe you've even like a lot of times when I post like an Instagram story or yeah, or just make a piece of content. I don't always do this, but I always try to mention as well that you can still have ice cream, you can still have pizza. You can live by your values, and you don't have to give up these things that you might think that you have to give up.
hmm,
So those are things that I really try to get to. Even when I make videos like for YouTube, I don't necessarily. I used to think this way. I used to try to make content that would cover every single point. Like, what if a troll says this, and what if they talk about soy, and what if they talk about the amino acid, and what if they talk about I don't know. And I thought, but you know what? Then you lose too much. I feel like you just get bogged down trying to cover at your bases, and it's better if you just have like a clear, concise message. And at the end of the day, I know that a lot of my close friends, they're not going to be saying that. They're not going to be saying, "Oh, but like beans don't have the full." I mean, I don't know, maybe one or two. You know what? The truth is I've had
yeah,
enough conversation with my non-vegan friends about veganism that never has someone told me, "Oh, but the amino acids in beans isn't." They've never said that, right? So
hmm,
I'm not gonna like when I'm making my content, I really think about them. I really have them in mind. So that is
nice.
that's where I kind of see myself on their vegan journey anyway. Just trying to like make it a little bit more convenient, more relatable.
I saw
So
that on your channel, that you kind of want to be that vegan that is welcoming to non-vegans or something in that area. Like that,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I try to be someone who would have made me want to go vegan. I feel like that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
probably
that.
my strength. And
Nice.
I feel like we all have strengths. We can all
Yeah.
contribute in our own ways. I really like your content. I'm a huge fan. I think it's really fresh. I think it's relatable. I think it's powerful. To me, when you make videos, you make like regular Instagram reels or TikToks, but they're just vegan versions. Like, you know, people are going to say I hate outreach videos. I don't hate outreach videos, but that's probably that's a big part of the vegan content that you see online. But that's a very unique, I would say it's very unique to veganism. You don't see other topics. You don't see
Hmm.
people in finance going around like talking to people on the street trying to change their minds about certain things. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you do know of other niches that do that. But what you do see is you do see like alpha male content, taking sound bites from podcasts, talking about maybe finance in that um, on that platform, and then cutting it and putting it into like TikTok, Instagram format. And I feel like that's what you do a lot. And I think it's really effective.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that. And that's actually so true. But it comes back to what I said, right? With animal activism, if you're doing it on social media, just you have to know social media to be effective. You have to understand social media, how it works.
Exactly. I think that's what you do extremely well. I think you're someone who is
Thank
able,
you.
yeah, I think you're someone who's seen what other people do, other creators do who are not vegan, and you apply that to vegan, or you apply veganism to that. And that's something that really
Yeah.
stuck out to me about your content, because it wasn't just, obviously it was that reel that we talked about, but even when I'm scrolling through your content, I'm like, this could be about any topic, but it's the focus
Nice.
is on veganism, and it's an engaging way. It's a way that a lot of people, it's very consumable the way that you post your content, especially for the way that people are consuming it now. again on Reels and TikTok.
The attention span
So
is so low, so we need to adapt to that.
yeah. So for me, you're also such a unique content creator because you occupy a space that's completely different from other, Euro, US centric content that I would say I'm a part of too. Like the vegan mainstream. You show us India, you show us Dubai. So is that an important aspect for you when it comes to content creation? Like showing these different places?
For sure, because I think right now, like people think veganism is like white veganism, and it's only for the Western world, and it's so important to highlight the growth in the Middle East and in Asia, for sure, for sure. Like because there's like the thing is with when even if you look at Asia specifically, I think there's a statistics that I think two-thirds of the world's animals are killed in Asia, but the advocacy is still so low. So literally, like if you look at meat consumption is on the rise in China. Even in India, a lot of the newer generation kids who are born as a vegetarian because of their family, they turn to eating chicken like later in life. So like meat is like on
That's a
increase,
shame. Yeah.
and it is. It's such a shame. But the Asia is trying to be like the West, where the West was. I mean, now in the West, in Germany, we see veganism on the rise and animal consumption or animal meat consumption lower. But they're trying, their income is rising, so then now they're consuming more meat. So, and more than ever, like advocacy is needed in Asia, and so it's definitely important. And there is a lot of animal advocacy happening. If we look at India, the amount of Indian animal activists there are, give you an example. So National Animal Rights Day happens every year in June, and it got started by an
Hmm.
organization in LA, and it happens in like cities worldwide, like 150 cities worldwide. And India is like almost every single city in India has a national animal rights day because there are just so many activists in so many different cities that want to
Okay.
set up this national animal rights day. So like that's an example of the advocacy, and I definitely like to highlight the advocates that are there.
So that's something that I think you also do really well. I think something that's unique about your content is you've introduced me to content creators that I would have never known about, like Ryuji. I see he posted something in Japanese. He's focuses
Hmm.
more on Asian activism or activism in
Hmm.
Asia, I should say. Um, Amy Ayla, I didn't know about her.
For
What
sure.
else?
Shivam,
Yeah, and I was
Voice
gonna,
of Vegans,
yeah, there we go. And I feel like I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the algorithm that serves me and it knows that I'm more Euro US centric, but for some reason I got your content and then your content helps me see the other content, like a whole world of content that I didn't know
yeah.
about. Like I didn't know there were so many activists in India, you know?
Yeah, no, no, no. It's so important that we give the platform to that part as well, and to make it as well that veganism is, accessible. It can be normalized in places like even in Asia or definitely in the Middle East. People ask me if Dubai is vegan friendly, but Dubai is so vegan friendly. Even if you
Yeah,
look
of
at the classic
course.
hummus and falafel that you get here, like that's
Yeah,
all vegan, for example. But even like in the
100%.
supermarkets, there's lots of vegan products, and vegan businesses are on the rise in Dubai actually. So it's really good.
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. Like that sounds right up their alley. And even I don't know if you've seen.
Exactly.
Did you see the video I posted about me going to Jordan? I did a vlog in
I didn't
Jordan.
see.
You haven't seen all my videos? Now I'm disappointed. I'm just no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so
Funny.
yeah, and it was so easy. It was so people are like, isn't it hard in Jordan? I'm like, dude, it's so easy. Like I'm eating the good stuff. I'm eating hummus and falafel and bread
Yeah,
and hamara and what's it
exactly.
called, baba ganoush, like all that stuff. So it's
Hmm.
tabbouleh. It's their cuisine is so plant based already, so it's easy. Going off the topic of creators, who are your who are your favorite vegan creators? You would say,
Ooh, favorite vegan
and you can't say
creators.
Earthling Ed.
Can I say you?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Don't worry, you're already on the
Favorite
video. You don't need to. You don't need to say me. I'm just kidding.
favorite vegan creators. Oh, Menkei, big fan. Menkei,
Oh, yeah, I
like
know him.
I am obsessed. So I think he once made a post about how he values quality over quantity, and that shows
Okay.
like in his content. Like he might take a couple weeks to post a new reel, but like that's worth it because like his reels are such high quality, have a great message, amazing like animation, graphics, everything. And
Yeah,
that's
I've
how
seen
he
his
grew
stuff.
because he valued quality over quantity, and that's how he grew because they're amazing reels. And they're amazing reels, they're going to get great engagement. They're going to be shared multiple times. And I love his approach, which is he takes all the vegan arguments and presents them with animation. So I think it's really unique that it hasn't really been done before, which is how he grew now so big. So I remember when he had like very little. So it's really cool to see his growth, and he's an amazing
That is
creator. So he
cool.
deserves to be top one in my creator list for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Any uh any like YouTubers that you watch besides me?
I obviously love Earthling Ed's YouTube as well. Like I loved like when I started my vegan activism, I was binge watching every single debate video of Earthling Ed.
Yeah,
So he has
totally.
really good high quality YouTube stuff. I watch Joey as well. I watch every single YouTuber out there. I actually watch every single vegan YouTuber.
Okay,
I
nice.
pretty much like if you look at my YouTube algorithm, it's literally all like the vegan stuff.
It's
Um,
everybody.
and oh, I was gonna say Jamie Logan. I
Jamie Logan, yeah.
really, yeah, like she's really good at what she does and she's passionate and she's a great video content creator.
Yeah.
So I would say her as well, yeah, for YouTube.
Yeah, I think she's funny. What the hell is
Yeah,
up, everybody? I'm Jamie Logan.
exactly. She has that passion. I love it. It's just
I think
really,
it's
really,
funny.
really.
What the hell is up?
I know. I wish I want to be like
Uh,
her.
she's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny. So I've heard you talk about how veganism and feminism are connected. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually one of the first things. So I, way back in my vegan journey, I did a podcast with my brother about veganism, and he taught me this. Like I never thought about it before that, and he was talking about how the female animals that get exploded that get exploited in the industries. And I was like, damn, like that's so true. Like this relates to each other. Like they're female animals, and as feminists, we stand up for women, but we should also be standing up for the female animals because at the end of the day, these are the animals who are getting exploited. If we look at the meat industry, only exists because of the female animals who are able to give birth to the next like amount of animals that are going to be slaughtered for meat. Dairy, only
Totally.
female cows produce the milk that we consume. So they're the only ones who are capable of producing milk. Looking at and
Uh-huh.
the relationship between dairy and um, even humans, right? Like we human women produce breast milk, and that's what female cows are the ones
Yeah.
who produce breast milk. It's just it makes so much sense once it clicks that like it's the
Yeah.
female animals are being exploited, and as feminists we should also be standing up for them. Looking even at eggs, so apparently chickens have been obviously manipulated with their egg production. So in the wild, like natural in the wild, so a long time ago, because they obviously have been so manipulated genetically to give like a lot more eggs, but they naturally lay 12 eggs a year, which is kind of like the same cycle as humans with once a period every month.
Yep.
That's the same thing that the eggs had, and now they're having, is
Yep.
it 300 eggs? So, and it's like, imagine that for them, they're like on their period every day because they're laying their eggs every day. So, just that relation, between the female chickens who are able to lay eggs. And so, it's so important as well that when we're talking about feminism, that we kind of extend that to the non human females as well.
So do you think it's hypocritical to be a feminist and not vegan?
Yeah, I think so because actually I had my brother posted this. So I keep mentioning my brother because he's the one who got me on this feminism is veganism journey. He posted something on his story about what we've talked about with him about feminism. So he shared that on the podcast, and we shared the clip. And a friend of his reached out to him, and she's a very passionate feminist, and she was like, "You cannot be doing this. You cannot be extending it to animals because we should be speaking up for women, and if you do that then you're kind of like lowering women, human women and all this stuff." And then he was kind of questioning himself. Actually, he was like, wait, like am I not allowed to do that? And then we started seeing this movement growing where feminism and veganism were intertwined. And now it's like it's 2 years after that, and like we can definitely say like feminism is veganism, and it's so important. And yeah, it is hypocritical of this girl. But I mean, this girl that called my brother out for calling say that you're not really a feminist if you're not vegan. Like she was just a carnist, and basically,
Yeah,
and she just didn't relate animals as being worthy of
like
equal
moral
rights.
consideration. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's super
yeah,
important.
yeah. Because ultimately, it's like a rights issue when it comes to human rights and
Mm-hmm.
animal rights and
Exactly.
I know Seb Alex says this a lot, but ultimately, if someone believes in human rights, it's just a natural and logical extension to apply those rights to
Mm-hmm.
animals. And of course, we're not talking about the right to vote or own property. It's the right to not be tortured, not be murdered. Any rights that we would give a dog, honestly. Like, would you give a
Mm-hmm.
dog that right? Why not another animal? It's that.
Exactly. So true.
So it's that kind of thinking. And so, on the topic of human rights, let's address the elephant in the room. I don't know, is it vegan to say that? I feel like it's fine. So, as a vegan creator, you've also made comments on the ongoing occupation and genocide in Gaza. And I've noticed you've had comments telling you should just stay in your lane and stick to veganism. What do you think about that?
I was so shocked when I saw that. So obviously I have a platform, so I thought I need to speak up for Palestine and for the injustice that's happening. And it is an injustice, and anyone like that's the only way to look at it, right? And if I was shocked to see that my vegan followers would not be able to see that this is an injustice. And I was really, really shocked because as an animal rights activist, like we should, if we're like fighting for animal rights, so it should already be a default that we're fighting for human rights as well. Like they obviously, are basically the same. Like, how can you be an animal rights activist and not fight for human rights at the same time? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I was very
Yeah,
shocked when I received those comments, and I got unfollowed a lot. And I was like, that's good. I don't want these people who do not understand that millions of people are being suffering and babies being killed and this just innocent people. So yeah, like I was really shocked, and I for sure veganism and human rights, like animal rights and human rights, it's one and the same. We're at the end of the day,
yeah.
we're standing up for the ones that were being oppressed, and we have to stand up for those. And in animal rights is the victim, and with the conflict now, it's obviously the Palestinians who are being oppressed and who need to be spoken up for.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I made a whole video about it, so I definitely got some backlash for that. Probably one of my most unpopular videos for the people who normally watch my content. But like
But
you said,
it's
it's it's important. It's yeah,
so
it's an
important.
injustice. Sorry,
It's
go
so
ahead.
important. No, it's exactly. It's so important. And it's so crazy that people will say, like, stick to vegan page, like, don't be a pro-Palestine page. And I was like, it makes no sense to say that. Like, at the end of the day, we're all fighting for the oppressed, so we should continue doing that, whether it's for the animals or for the people.
I agree, and it's funny because in both the movements, you see very similar. You see people saying very similar things, like nobody will be free until Palestine is free. Similar, you hear
Hmm.
people say nobody will be free until the animals are free. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's why I'm saying
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same shit, y'all.
I
It's
know.
free. It's total liberation. It's liberation for everybody. It's not just liberation for animals. It's not just liberation for the Palestinians. It's total liberation.
I know. And I think once we
Uh,
have a vegan world, that peace will be there a lot more. Because they say, right, there's a quote that says, as long as we still have slaughterhouses in this world, there will still be wars. And because slaughterhouses are such
yeah.
violent places. So I really feel like that's why I
Yep.
was so shocked that these vegan people who are supposed to understand compassion, understand being against oppression, would, not be pro Palestine. Like it just didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Luckily, it's a small percentage. I mean, it was a handful of comments, and the rest of
Yeah.
people do understand that it's an injustice. So thankful for that.
If I didn't respect him already, after Joey posted about it, he just, for me, he just went way up because it's tough, because when you post that, you're gonna get backlash. But I think he captured it really well when he said, we just stand against injustice. That's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is one of the largest injustices we've ever seen, when it comes to
I
animals.
know.
So yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Joey went up a lot in my book when he posted about the injustice and the oppression that's going on. And yeah, like you were talking about how people say to stay in your lane. I think our lane is injustice. You know what I mean? That is our
Exactly.
lane. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
my
yeah.
lane. You know what I mean? Like I'm right where I need to be.
I know.
I guess to end it with a bit of a lighter question, what is your favorite vegan meal? Top three, actually, top three. Oh, you know
Ooh.
what? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, actually. Hit me. You have a limitless pit. Go.
Oh man, okay. I'm really basic with food. Like a whole food plant-based diet I prefer. So I really will say breakfast is like either a smoothie bowl or like oatmeal with like vegan protein powder or something like that, to kind of get the protein in. I have like an oat latte every single day. So like I cannot like that's has to be in there as well. Um, Hummus, avocado toast, really basic. I'm really, really basic, I think.
Damn, you are basic. I'm kind of shocked.
And
I'm just
dinner would
kidding.
have to be like a Mexican, like love vegan Mexican. It's so easy. It's just like
Okay.
burrito. It's like with like guac beans. They have a really good one here. I had it literally yesterday. I ate it. So they have like a vegan chili. They even have some impossible beef as well. But I prefer the vegan chili
Okay.
con carne, and it's so good. So that would be my
Yeah, I do
dinner.
like that a lot too, in
Yeah.
general. Okay, nice, nice. All right, cool. Sounds good. Sounds like you hit all the major food groups
Yeah.
except for the dark leafy greens. No, I'm just kidding. But cool,
That's
cool,
necessary.
cool,
Yeah, I
cool.
like to put some spinach in the smoothie bowl as well.
Okay, yeah, of course. Who am I? Yeah, that's my bad. Obviously, they're in the smoothie bowl. But
But vegan protein
anyways,
powder, I like add that to everything. Like I love to get a little bit extra protein always. So that's all.
yeah,
And it keeps you full. So I highly recommend people to use that in like smoothie bowls and oatmeal, etc. Yeah.
yeah. I used to do that as well. I don't do that as often anymore. I do now because I'm trying to lose weight. I'm cutting basically. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Nice.
so to make sure I hit my protein goals. But well,
Yeah.
anyways, Farah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, by the way, can I just say
Say,
something? I have a sticker on my thing that says "Stop Eating Animals," and it's by the Save Movement. They sell their stickers on the Toronto Pig Save, I think, website. But yeah, I love the spreading advocacy here and there wherever I go.
that's how you get into the debates in the coffee shops.
Exactly. I have a big sticker on my laptop that says "Stop Eating Animals" as well. So it's laptop and headphones.
There we go. There we go. That's gonna get them out of their
Yeah.
hiding spots. Before you leave, is there anything you'd like to tell all the viewers, like where to reach you or?
Yeah, of course. So people can reach me. So it's Farah Amber on Instagram, and I have obviously my Changemakers podcast. So you can tune in on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. And yeah, I hope that maybe like this conversation kind of help people in their advocacy because, and I'm available. You can reach out to me. I do check my DMs and I check my requests and if people have any questions about like content creation, anything, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. For sure, I'm here to help because as long as I can help the animals and I can help people and advocates, then that's what I'm here for. And yeah, so I hope this session kind of helped people in that, and that one day we have a vegan world, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
cool. Well, Farah, thank you so much for joining, and thanks to everybody who tuned in. I'm gonna start making videos like these where I interview people a little bit more often. So if you like this type of content, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. And again, thanks so much for joining.